can I talk to you real quick?
Sure.
Okay, I'm Joshi, this is Alex. We have a YouTube channel where we go around the city.
Our concept is simple. We invite strangers for a meal in exchange for their stories. Today, we meet the protagonist of a story covered by the USA Today during the SARS epidemic. Let's find out what they have to tell us in this episode of Bites.
Let's go.
Duncan Magruder.
I'm LJ Magruder, and I'm originally from Guangzhou, China.
Ashley Magruder, and this is my family, my husband and 2 kids, and we are living in Penang, Malaysia, but we're originally from Louisiana, and we've lived outside of the U.S. for about 12 years.
For 12 years.
Mac Magruder for these purposes, make it easy for you.
Can I ask why you guys are living all over the world?
Sure.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, 12 years ago we decided we wanted to be missionaries and work with churches in Africa originally, and so we moved to Rwanda and we helped churches there develop water programs, sanitation programs, health and hygiene programs around their church activities and communities.
In Rwanda, it was a little bit crazy because it was the first time I've lived anywhere other than the U.S. It wasn't super ahead of its time, but it was still super interesting. And then just like moving on to Kenya, living there for 7 years was absolutely nuts. And going to Malaysia has just been super awesome.
Completely different again.
Completely different. When I have kids in my own family, I don't want to live in the U.S. I'd want to live overseas so they could experience the same thing that I have.
First dish, yay! It's just vegetable.
What's the white stuff?
It's kind of
Scallions, I think.
Yeah.
Just a spring onion.
when I walked out of that shop and saw this.
Kung Pao chicken. It's very Beijing.
Well, we're recording it now.
Oh, we're recording. So, yeah, watch how you eat it. No, I'm just kidding. You guys like the food here, like Chinese
Oh,
food.
it's so good. But of course, but Penang is like really known for having really good food from lots of different Asian countries, so we feel like we're kind of spoiled.
Quick.
Okay, yeah.
Put the dumplings right next to me, that's okay. Get lost. This straight up just looks like soy sauce with a mess of garlic in it.
The vinegar and
Actually, this is my graduation trip, so our mom and dad decided since we're graduating,
Another
we should do
green
a special graduation
My
trip.
green bean bowl.
So I decided I wanted to go to China. I wanted to go back to the orphanage where I came from. And we didn't know where my documents were, so we asked our family who lives in the States, we're like, can you guys please go to the lake house and please dig in all that rubble and find some documents that we haven't seen in 16 years. So my grandfather was like, okay, we'll go look. And then miraculously, he found this red book with our family photo, when I was adopted, with all my adoption papers.
I hope you guys are hungry.
Your interview will be over and they'll still be eating, don't worry.
Sorry, so your grandpa found the family photo.
Yeah, luckily they found it. So we just took a photo and everything went all well. So now I can go and visit the orphanage that will probably be completely different after 16 years.
Wow,
Yeah, so this is like something that she's been waiting to do for a long time. Because when we adopted her March of 2003, so a lot of families had already been matched with their child, but were not allowed to travel. And we got the permission to travel, but we had other 2 kids at home, and we wanted to just kind of make it a fairly quick trip, not expose ourselves too much. We were staying at the White Swan, and they had a playroom down in the off the main lobby where a lot of these parents with new adoptees could go and play. It was like a big toy room, and she was 2 when we got her, so she was old enough to sit up and play and all that. So we were in there playing with some toys. A reporter approached us and was like, "Oh, are you adopting and all this? And how did you feel about coming in the middle of the SARS epidemic and all that?" And he took our picture, and we were on the people section of the USA Today. So
Wow.
I have it framed at home, and that's been a fun.
She had seen a film in high school.
You have one.
Ashley had, that was called A Small Happiness. And the idea being that the birth of a daughter was a small happiness and the birth of a son was a big happiness. It was a play on the whole concept that feeding a daughter is like watering your neighbor's garden, because when you get married, the daughter becomes property of the boy's family. She had always had a desire to be involved in
water
that.
the neighbor's flower.
Yeah, so what does that look like? And we'd already had our firstborn, Lillian, and then we found out we were pregnant with a boy, Duncan. And so we decided to go ahead and adopt a girl from China during that time. And then when Duncan was born, our paperwork was already here. But when Duncan was born, he had a coarctation of the aorta, which required a heart surgeon. And through that process, we just felt like, all right, we've learned a lot about pediatric cardiology issues, and so maybe that's, we're being asked to consider doing something different with the adoption, and so we changed our paperwork to indicate we would adopt a child with a heart condition. And so Ella Jade was on that list for a hole in her heart that she was born with.
I just got goosebumps.
Yeah, so she was 2 when we got the paperwork and her little picture. And as Ashley said, it was right in the middle of the SARS epidemic, and there was a travel ban. So we had been matched with Ella Jade, but we couldn't get permission to come to China. And because there was the heart condition, which really was a minor thing, but we had that information, we went to our state senator's office, Mary Landrieu from Louisiana, who's an adoption advocate. And so she got us a pass from the State Department to travel to China. So it was us and one other family in China at that time, and that's why the reporter thought it was particularly interesting. Like, there's a travel ban, how did you come, why are you coming during SARS to do this? And we just felt like she was Irish and we wanted to
Oh my god,
get her.
you are just like a little gossip. Seriously.
When I first saw them come to the orphanage, I'm like, who
She
the
was not happy.
heck are these white people in front of my face?
I think she cried herself to sleep in my arms and then didn't want anything to do with me for the rest of the trip. She would only let him hold her.
like it more?
And then it was the other way around.
And then when we got back home and she saw us with the other 2 kids, and he was a traveling salesman at the time, so then she realized, oh, that's the mom. And then,
Real justice.
Yeah.
exactly.
Ella Jade wanted to come back now, 16 years later, and try to see the orphanage, and that was, as she indicated, it was a real struggle to get permission from the government to do that. And one of the things they required was this document with a photograph of us holding her in the
They call it the adoption
signing
decree
ceremony,
or something
yeah.
like that. And we kept racking our
It's
brains like we could not
16
remember.
years ago, we're trying to remember, like, what document are they referencing with this photograph, and lost in translation, of course, like, we're not finding it. And finally, just in,
at the 11th hour,
older.
literally the 11th hour, we found, I mean, it was less than a week before we were leaving from this trip. We didn't know if we were going to get to visit the orphanage or not. Like, we already had plane tickets bought and everything, but we were just totally trusting that it was going to work out, and it did.
It's such a warm story, though.
It is.
We're not there yet, but we're trusting that it's going to continue to work
Still got to
out.
find our way from the airport to
We
the
do. We have to take a train.
Oh yeah, I'm trying some of that. That was spicy
that's
though.
a different noodle. Does it look like a
great.
face? Does there
You like it?
You like
Right.
this?
This is one of his favorites too.
Is that-
Is it a zucchini maybe?
Cucumber,
or
right?
Cucumber?
It's one of those vegetables that grows on trees.
Grows on a
this is the dessert. This is the sweet thing.
Oh wow.
It's really good.
We haven't.
It's like a rice cake.
Yeah.
That's a sweet sauce made of brown sugar, I think.
Everything was delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you have a favorite one out of all this?
this.
Obviously.
dumpling.
The fish was great.
Yeah, I really liked that vegetable that's with the noodles. That was really good.
The
the
glass
glass
noodles,
noodles.
the fish was great, the beef was
Everything
great,
was
everything
good.
was so good.
So we're hoping that maybe some of the workers would be able to recognize and who some of the other kids were, because some of the older children probably grew up there. So we might know if they're either still there or if they've moved on or what they're doing. Like, it'll be fun to hear some more stories.
Do you remember anything?
All I remember is just seeing a giant sea goat or something like that.
Okay.
Statue.
Dad, you want to wrap it up?
Sure. All right. This has been an awesome time. Thank you guys for sharing your stories with us and letting us share a little bit about our lives and sharing this incredible local meal. We've had a great time here. It's been great to get to know you, and we've got new neighbors and a new place.
All you viewers out there, please go subscribe to this channel right now, or else you will regret it.
Thank you. Do I need to do that again?
That was super cool.
I can't wait to see the video when it comes out.
Yeah, that's so fun.
Good.
Definitely.
Oh yeah.